A renewable energy company looks to raise over ₱1 billion through its initial public offering. Alternergy Chairman Vince Perez joins us to talk about this and the potential of renewable power. Thank you so much for joining us, Vince.
Good evening, Rico. Pleasure to be back.
More than $1 billion being offered for this initial public offering.
Billion pesos.
Huh?
$1 billion pesos.
Did I say dollars?
Yes.
Oh my
I
gosh,
wish we
it should
could.
have been $1 billion. More than $1 billion pesos to be exact. 1.6 billion pesos. How will you be using this money, Vince?
All for growth. This is all for growth. By the way, it's all primary shares. We're not selling any secondary. We want to build a business. We have a pipeline, Rico, of wind, solar, hydro that's coming on stream every year between now and 2026. So it's all a growth story that we're raising these funds, this pivot from owning minority stakes to owning majority stakes in the renewable power projects we're doing, primarily in the Philippines.
How different is Alternergy from other renewable companies that are listed on the stock exchange?
Correct. Well, some of the recent renewables companies have been a single resource. What's unique to us, we have this so-called triple play, where we have three intermittent resources: wind, which tends to blow during the bare months, hydro, which during the rainy months of July to December, and solar, which is pretty much all year round, except with a peak around the summer months of March and April. But by combining these three seasonalities, Rico, we could provide a steady cash flow to our shareholders in terms of dividends or debt service to our lenders. Even during the day, solar only obviously peaks during 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then dies down during the dusk. Wind, however, continues to blow even in the late, early evenings. So you kind of also can cover, like sometime right now, where people are home studying, watching TV, studying among the students. So, and run-of-river hydro is pretty steady all day long. But by combining those three, we could provide what we call sort of a 24-hour clean energy to the contestable customers in the Philippines.
But from this capital that you will be raising from your initial public offering, how much will be divided among this triple play of wind, hydro, and solar?
The first projects we have on stream are solar projects. Coming on stream in May, a Palau solar project battery that we're doing, our very first overseas project outside the Philippines. We have another solar project in Bataan. A lot of them already are shovel ready. In 2024, we have two hydro projects already under construction, which would come on stream by that. And then the biggest of all is wind. We have a large portfolio of wind that will come on stream in 24-25. So you could see there's sort of parade of projects coming on stream that will help pivot the growth. That's the reason why we're raising
from the near to medium term.
Correct.
And what is the total megawatts of your triple play that are now on stream and are being built?
We have about 1,300 megawatts, but I want to move away from megawatts because wind, solar, and hydro have different what we call capacity factors. We can translate that to actually kilowatt hours or gigawatt hours. This portfolio can produce 1 billion kilowatt hours over the next 5 years. Now, what does that mean? It's about 500,000 households in Metro Manila that we could provide clean energy, about the size of the city of Manila in terms of residential households. That's the impact of what we're doing. Now, it's not enough for the whole country, but what we're doing is that we're going to be one of the faster growing renewables because of this offering that we'll be pivoting into.
At the moment, as we speak, it is the offering period for the IPO of Alternergy, and then you will be listing next week. What kind of investors are you attracting for your IPO?
Okay, so I have a very narrow space as what I could talk about, given with the retail period, but maybe I could explain the profile. Several institutional investors who do not have any exposure to renewables. An oil and gas company that wants to pivot into renewables, a agrochemical private family that wants to get into renewables, a family office of a founder who was doing well in industrial. They all want to see and pivot in what is the 20th century growth of renewable energy.
What about the small retail investor? I was
Yes.
talking to Ramon Monzon a week ago, and they really want to attract the retail investor, not only the big institutional investors, but also the mom and pop, the man on the street.
That's important because aside from my nephew, my cousin, the friends and family, what we're noticing is that we have a large subscription of what we call the local small investor. This about 10% of the offering is allotted to them. So far, as we speak, there's about 25% that's already subscribed to that segment. But of all the webinars and forums and Zooms that we've had, we have a lot of young professionals who want to invest in this, and high net worth individuals who are kind of investing less for themselves, but for their children and grandchildren, because this is really what renewable energy is going to provide.
This generation and the future generation.
Yes.
So it's really a long-term growth play.
Yeah, our mantra is renewable energy for the next generation. So that's, yes.
But I'm sure, Vince, a lot of people would want to know. We were just talking to Rafael Garchitorena from Regis Partners.
Yes.
And of course, we're seeing gyrations, jitters among investors regarding these two US-based banks that have collapsed, which could have a contagion effect on the US financial system and the rest of the world, right?
Correct.
Could this have an impact on interest on your IPO?
I think we're pretty much down the road already. We're pretty much subscribed as far as we are. We're just 2 days to go before the listing on Friday. And we got to isolate what's happening in the US to the fact that maybe it's more affecting the banking sector here. In terms of sentiment, there's nothing wrong with the Philippine economy. What really is happening is that we believe, because what's happening in the US, now I'm speaking as a former banker.
That's right.
Is that maybe the Fed might kind of ease on maybe continuing with this so-called aggressive interest rate hike because of what's happening. That's good for us in the Philippines because the pressure on our central bank may be less. And two, because interest rates in the US may not grow as much, that dollar has weakened. Our peso has strengthened. And that's good for renewable because we have a lot of capex that's denominated in US dollars. We import a lot of wind turbines, hydro turbines, and solar panels. So that actually, if you notice, the peso is somewhat strengthened a bit. Now, what we're all worried about here, Rico, is inflation, right? And inflation here is driven by energy and food. So let's put the food issue aside, energy. Actually, renewable is an inflation buster because what we could offer to an offtake utility, an electric utility, a co-op, is we could give them fixed power rates for 15, 20 years. Fixed because of the nature of renewables. So in a way, and we're already very competitive, we don't need subsidies in being able to be lower than the current power rate. So we are in a way helping reduce energy inflation in the medium term.
And when you invest in the stock market, it should always be in the long term. Thank you so much for joining us and good luck with your listing on March 24th. Vince Perez, Chairman of Alternergy.
Thank you, Rico.